Overwatch 2 does not support the HDR system level calibration on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X, and the same counts for the PC and Windows 11. The HDR menu in Overwatch 2 is exactly the same for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series and PC. The only difference is between the console and the PC version, slightly different settings. Okay, so let's take a closer look on the HDR settings in Overwatch 2, and we have exactly two screens actually, or test pattern where we can set up HDR. We have test pattern HDR calibration number 1, adjust the slider until the symbol is barely visible, and then we have HDR calibration screen number 2, adjust the slider until the symbol is barely visible. That's actually quite simple. The problem is now, if you would follow the instruction on the first screen, and even you have a TV with HDRG support as the G2 or the CX, you would actually end up with a too low maximum peak brightness. So I would strongly recommend to use my recommended settings. Okay, so now let's talk about my recommended settings for Overwatch 2, and we're starting with the console setting for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, and we're starting with the my CX, okay? So for the CX or similar TVs like the C1, C2 or G1, with a peak brightness of around 800 candela, try the following setting. Make sure that the little dot from the slider is between R and F, because this gives you around 760 to 800 candela maximum peak brightness in this game. For the G2 or similar TVs like the S95B, A95K and in use with the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series, make sure the little dot is between the E and T, because this gives you exactly 1026 candela. And if you own a TV with a much higher peak brightness like the QN95B, then just max out the slider, because on the console you have now a maximum peak brightness of around 1500 candela. And that's, by the way, the maximum readings. Okay, so now let's focus on the PC version, and I told you already the settings compared to the console version is a little bit different. Anyway, for the CX, C1, C2 and G1, try and use the dot in the setting over the O, because this gives you also around 750 to 800 candela, which fits those TVs of course perfectly. Then we have the G2, A95K or S95B in combination with the PC, and in this case try and set the slider over the N, because this also gives you around 1026 candela. And last but not least, if you have a TV like the QN95B in combination with the PC, then just max out the slider completely, because this gives you a maximum peak brightness in this game of around 1600 candela. For the second screen, and I like to call this screen black level calibration, my recommendation is very simple, and this counts for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series and PC. Make sure the slider is set to the leftist point, because you don't want to see any symbol at all. You don't want to have any additional black level rays or grayscale rays, because this game already looks very washed out. If you're now experiencing the same issue what I have in terms of a very washed out picture, then I may or may not have the solution for you if you play this game on the PlayStation 5 or the PC, because unfortunately this solution doesn't work on the Xbox. And please keep in mind, I'm not done with my testing in terms of my solution for the PlayStation 5 and the PC, so I'm not 100% sure if this is really right, because it can't be right actually, okay? But let me show you what I'm talking about, and then I will tell you why it doesn't work on the Xbox. So this is a very washed out picture. I don't like it at all, and it doesn't look good at all. And even when we go in this darker area here in the end, you can actually see the whole picture is very overbrightened. I don't like it at all. So something is not right. So we noticed from a couple of games that we have elevated grayscale, elevated black levels and stuff like that. So in this game, there is no elevated black level. That means when you have a loading screen, it's pure black, OLED black. It's just perfect. But this doesn't look right to me. And what I like you to try is actually you go to all settings on supported TVs, because not all TVs actually having this option. And what you have to do is you change your video range to limited. So keep in mind, this just works when your GPU or the console is set to RGB full. Okay, so make sure your GPU, NVIDIA or AMD is set to RGB full, and the console as well, of course. So, but usually the PlayStation 5 is outputting RGB full, but make sure it's actually doing this, and then change on your TV or force on your TV limited, and then just put in the comment section what you think. But again, this is absolutely wrong, but the picture now looks better. But again, I'm not quite done with testing if there's any disadvantage now. I haven't done this. So put in the comment section what you think about this, if this is a temporary solution till hopefully the absolutely washed out picture gets fixed by the developers. Okay, so let me just quickly explain why it doesn't work with the Xbox Series X. So Xbox Series X can output RGB full in SDR content. So you can actually force to output RGB full in SDR content. So standard is actually full limited, which is perfectly fine for SDR content and also HDR content. There's no problem at all. The problem now what we're having on the Xbox, as soon we're starting a game and there's HDR output, the Xbox is changing from RGB to YCPCR, and YCPCR or UF does not have a full and limited option. YCPCR is always limited. That's why now forcing the TV into limited doesn't make any difference, because it is already set to limited. So again, on the Xbox Series X, unfortunately, you can't try this trick, but I like to make it very clear. I do not think that this is the right solution, because forcing something, well, let's say it like this, having a mismatch between the RGB levels, in this terms full and limited, this doesn't sound right at all, and it can't be the solution. So I'm still testing what's going on here, but for now, as a temporary solution, give it a try. Okay, so that's for Overwatch 2 HDR settings for the PlayStation 5, Xbox and PC. And please do me a favor, try the temporary solution with forcing the TV, if you can do this on your TV, into limited, but make sure your GPU or console, in this case the PlayStation 5, because I told you on the Xbox it doesn't work, but force your TV in limited mode for the RGB range, and write in the comment section if you like the picture better, or if you're experiencing any issues in terms of specular highlights or something like that, because I'm not done with testing yet, but it can't be right. It can't be right. There's something terrible wrong, and I need to figure out what it is. But for now, I'm quite happy with the game. It took me ages actually to get online, because Blizzard account and adding a phone number, there was slightly a problem, but now it's actually working. And I'm not very good, but if you like to add me, my gamer tag is actually on the PlayStation 5 is Amok for all, so just add me, and maybe you're lucky, or maybe I'm lucky, and I can play with you. Thank you very much for watching me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.